Hello, everyone. This is Joe and Linda Burton with Fighting to Stay Married. I know you wanted to say something, right?
I was going to say my name.
Go ahead and say your name.
This is Linda.
She wanted to say her name.
Today's topic is about how it's not our partner's job to meet their need. If you're not happy before your marriage, the marriage is not going to make you happy. We're not trying to get the spouse off the hook that they don't have to do things for you, but you have to remember that you're responsible for your needs and to express yourself. So once again, we're here with Pastor Flowers.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
And we're going to get his wisdom and his lessons and life experience from that topic. So can you share with us some wisdom of how that can mess up your marriage and how you meet your own needs? At first, you have to know what your needs are, but then meet your needs.
Yeah, I think quite often this happens when, depending on the background and the culture that we grow up in, if we get used to seeing it played out in the other direction, where one spouse thinks that or both of them actually think I'm supposed to meet every need that the other one has. And at some point, that turns into an expectation. And expectations are dangerous in that they only lead to disappointment. Expectation generally leads to disappointment. So when it starts out like that, it gets into everything. That foundation of I'm expecting you to meet my needs gets involved in everything. So you can't solve problems because I expect you to solve it for me. And quite often I think my problem is you because you won't solve it for me. You know, and that just gets us into all kinds of trouble. Conflict management, it gets involved in conflict management because now I expect you to yield so that my needs get met. And when you don't, now I think something is wrong with you. Okay. And it gets involved, it gets connected to problem solving, not just conflict management, but problem solving because I expect you, because I have this expectation that you're supposed to meet all of my needs. I expect you to go overboard because of me. That creates, and I'm sure you can see how that creates all kinds of problems in relationships and marriage. When those things start to deteriorate, eat away goodwill. And goodwill is really the concept of how we, what's the word I want to use? We actually go toward serving another person. We do it out of goodwill, not out of expectation.
Yeah. So you're cooking for the person because you love to cook. Because you love to cook, not cooking because of the other person. But
Right.
sometimes you grow up like you see someone, like say you see your mom cooking, cleaning, doing all that kind of thing. So in your mind, you might not be thinking it, but you might expect like, how come the house is dirty? How come the food is not ready?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's kind of like a transference, right? Of some kind.
It is. Exactly. And I think folks get caught in this all the time, Joe. Depending on the environment they came out of as they grew up, they expect, is one of the reasons that women that get involved in our life, in the man's life, have such a problem with the man's mother. Okay.
Yeah.
One of those things that create that kind of problem. So the guy is expecting his wife to be like his mom was with his dad. Okay, and that's not who she is. And that creates a real problem. And then we may turn around and let some poison out and say, Mom, she don't do this, she don't do that. Now, Mom, she got a problem with your wife now.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, the in-laws can have a bad rap.
Yep.
You know, yeah, instead of going, "Hey, man, yeah, my mom is coming over. Like, oh man, cool. I can't wait to see her. I haven't seen her in a long time. That's cool. How's she doing?
Mm-hmm.
But like, your mom's coming over. Oh, okay. Dang it. You know what? I ain't gonna be here. I'm going out. So it could be that kind of thing, right?
Right. And quite often it is that kind of thing, and we don't know why it's like that. And a lot of that starts with, a lot of that comes from this concept, I expect you to meet my need. And it's really a setup, because no one really can meet your need except you. If you don't know what your need is, no one else can meet it.
So how do you separate roles then? Like the role of wife versus the role of a husband. So how do you separate, not separate, but how do you make that distinction? You know what I mean? Like as a man, I get my cues from what I see other men doing, whether right or wrong, right? So how does that differentiate? You know, how do you balance that to make sure that you don't expect but do what you're supposed to do as a man?
Yeah.
As a woman, or I mean, I don't know if I'm making any sense.
I think so. I think you are making perfect sense, and that is what is happening to especially younger people now, because sometimes no one was there to speak into their lives, or no one spoke into their lives in a healthy way. I personally would think that definition of roles would come from Creator, because the Creator is the one that created you, so it would be why he would assign a role to you. And so if you go by that way of thinking, then it's important to go back to the beginning. We get the concept of men should work from Genesis. Before God gave Adam Eve, he gave him a job. Okay. And I think it's really important for men to understand that you're not ready for a wife or girlfriend or anything like that if you're not responsible enough to have and keep a job and then learn how to manage money and those kinds of things. That's the beginning. And then I forget now what chapter 2 or 3, God said to the man he put him in the garden, and he said to till the garden. That was the job, to take care of the garden. In other words, I'm not going to bring anything to you like a woman until you understand purpose. Till or cultivate, I think is the word. Cultivate the garden. Cultivate the garden. That means everything in the garden should be better because you're taking care of it. Whatever's in that garden, it should be better because of you. You are taking care of it. Okay, dress and keep is the word that the King James uses. Dress and keep the garden. Dress means to cultivate the garden. And then it means keep means to protect. Now think about it. What in the world is there to protect in the Garden of Eden? Okay, protect from what? Okay. But it's the point of learning how to care and protect your family. Because your family is your garden. Protect it and cultivate it. That's purpose for men. Now, if we get outside of that, we start to change roles. And changing roles is a societal thing. Roles can be changed depending on the society you live in.
Yeah.
You know, and so that can be dangerous. Roles can be fine, but it also can be dangerous. You know, I don't know if that makes sense, but depending on where you come from or depending on what society you're in, there are some tribes, I think in Africa, where the women do all kinds of things. In the animal kingdom, it's the female line that hunts. Okay, it's the female line hunts. All of that. Now, the male line just lays up there and makes babies.
Makes what?
Babies, baby line. But don't mess with the female. Now you got a problem with the male. Hopefully,
he protects the kingdom.
yes. So the roles can be different depending on where you grew up, the environment you grew up in. That's why I think it's important for couples, especially if they're entertaining marriage or even going to spend a lot of time together as courting or going together, to really spend time intentional and learn each other, so that we don't create false expectations of the person.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I think it's also good that know your gift, know your talent. Because if one's better in financing than the other, then most likely the one that does financing probably should do the bills and different things like that. If one cooks better than the other one or enjoy cooking better than the other one, then maybe that one should do more than the other one. So I think it's taking the time of learning your skills and your talent and having that conversation, saying that, but not going in having the expectations of what your parents did or what you saw on TV, but just going back to what is your gift, what is your skill, how can we get the best out of this marriage by using our gifts and skills, and find out what our weakness is and see, how it balances out. What are you gonna say?
I forgot now. Gonna say something.
Yeah, I think when two people are able to do what you just said, the benefit to the marriage is much better, because you get the best of both people. Okay, but the problem is having, like you say, having that conversation and being open to that.
Right.
Because cultures quite often leave people where they're not open to that.
Yeah.
And so the best opportunity to have a good relationship or a good marriage is to actually be healthy, emotionally healthy, an emotionally healthy person. And the beginning of emotional health is understanding that you're responsible for yourself.
Yes.
I
think that's the main thing of this topic. And it was a saying, I think you said, it takes two healthy people to have a healthy relationship.
Right.
The relationship, the marriage, cannot be any healthier than the weakest person, than the most unhealthy person. It can't be better than that, because you're one, you're together now, you know, so it can't be, better. You have to fine tune and work and go through the process. I think it's so important to know your needs and what you need to work on yourself before you get in a relationship.
Yeah,
you're only strong as the weakest link. Something like that.
And I think quite often it's been misinterpreted. Even our marriage vows, sometimes we misinterpret those promises to be expectations. And there's a world of difference between a promise that someone promises you and an expectation that you have of them. Okay, and so vows are basically promises. They are promises to, actually they're promises to God. And while you're listening to it, okay, but an expectation comes from the other person. I expect you to keep your promise. Well, we hope the person does.
Yeah.
But when you put an expectation on it, then you create all kinds of problems. I'm looking to see if you're going to keep it in the way I interpret it, and all that kind of stuff, and that just creates all kinds of issues with unhealthy relationships. So one of the things that happen is people are really good at finding what they're looking for. Just think about it. People are really good at finding what they're looking for. So if I'm looking for you to be the type of person that meets my needs, I find that. But mess around and do something that I don't like, that changes my focus now. So now I stop looking for you to meet my needs and start looking for reasons you don't do. Don't meet. And guess what? We're good at finding what we're looking for.
Oh yeah. A person can be as innocent can be.
Yes, sir.
They haven't done anything wrong. They haven't thought nothing, but for some reason you're guilty.
Yep.
You're like, what I do? Well, you wouldn't have to be asking. It's just like it could be a mess. You're right. You're looking for it, you'll find it actually, yeah. Good or bad.
You'll find it. Wow. That can become a real problem, because all of those kind of negative energy things destroy goodwill.
Wow.
So if a person is going to keep their promise to you, they will do it out of their goodwill for you. The minute you put an expectation on it, you start to create a poison in that person. That means I now devalue your gift to me. I changed it from a gift and made it a duty.
Yeah, you know that a lot of parts I hear, well, not a lot of parts. I hear this said a lot of times. Well, you're the man, or you the woman. Like you're expected to do something. Like, because I don't know. I know that in times past, one of the differentiations they try to set up for men is to learn how to change a tire, do something with the car. But I don't know if a lot of guys know how to change tires today.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
But it's like something that we passed on. But nowadays you have AAA, roadside assistance. I can just make a phone call. So it's like, it's some of those things. I don't know if it's good or bad that it went away, or if it was just should have never been in the first place. Not all boys are tailored to that.
Yeah.
You know.
I think it's good that we have the convenience of that, but I think at the root, we should know how to do some of those things.
Correct.
It's good to be able to have the convenience to take your cell phone and call AAA. I've done it.
Yeah.
But I still was taught how to change the tire.
Well, the thing about it too, Pastor, like you say roles and stuff though, but it seems like a lot of women are learning that type of stuff too, considering how the world has changed. Well, maybe it's always been that way, but it seems like women have to learn how to do more of those kind of things now too, right? Changing the oil, or not changing the oil, checking things, and I don't know, because what were you gonna say?
I think that one of the problems that has ushered us into the era that we are in is part of the concept of, and I want to use my words carefully, women liberation. But women have always been liberated. The problem with a lot of this is now, because of the way some have went about this, and have lost respect for women.
Yeah.
And so they don't see their role as protector or one that makes sure that are cultivated. They don't see that role anymore. They see themselves as, I'm just in it for me. The other side of that is quite often women see a man that is trying to respect her in a certain way as, you don't think I can do it. Let me show you I can.
Yeah.
Now, those are poison. Both of those are very poisonous. It's poison to the human race. Okay. Because if we,
the equal thing too, because it's so much emphasis on equality, like you know, a man can do anything a woman can do, vice versa.
Yeah.
So, and something's gotten lost or misinterpreted.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, again, I'm going back to the Bible. The way God set this up is that we can't exist without each other.
Yeah.
We cannot live without. One of us can't do it by ourselves. We can't exist alone. So that actually says something to us. I need you. So I probably, if I need you for life to survive, I might consider treating you respectfully as a valuable person. Okay, I have had some experiences. I know in the day, my younger days, the I don't want to use the word expectation, but it was the general concept. If there was a woman in distress and you were around, do what you can for her. It wasn't that you were trying to take advantage of her. You was helping mankind by helping her. That's what we did. A woman didn't have to worry. If she had a flat tire on the side of the freeway, some guy would stop. Okay, some guy would stop. They would take care of it for her. But now there's kind of a back off from that, and that backing off sometimes has to do with a lack of respect. And sometimes it has to do with a fear of what might happen if I try to help.
I know with our boys, I got on them about opening up doors for the woman, or just actually anybody behind them and different things like that. And one day we were talking and they were like, Mom, girls are mean. Like they're mean when we do it now. Like I don't wanna hold the door open because she'll actually go through another door, or she'll say I can do it. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just thank you anymore. It's kind of like she took it as an insult. So they were like, and I'm like, well, I hate to say it, but if you're with me, I better see you. I don't care their response. You can't go by their response. You have to do what you know that's right to do. If it was another guy, whoever's behind you, you hold that door. You know, so we had that conversation of, you know, they were saying some women don't like those things now. And I brought up to them is, what do you want in a wife? Right there is a sign that you can already look for of what type of person you want. And it's to the point of just knowing their personality by little things like that. Do you want, I mean, is that person ready to be in a relationship because they're going through things, they're still trying to figure it out, compared to somebody just saying thank you and go through the door. It doesn't have to mean anything more than just opening up the door for someone. You know, because I will hold the door for another female, not thinking anything of it. Why is that okay? But if I was a male, that person would be insulted. So sometimes I think we have our own issues to go through. And I was telling the boys, those are the things you need to look for. What type of female do you want to marry? What type of female do you want to be with? I'm hoping you want to be one that would say thank you, or you know, like accept the gratitude instead of that. But they were saying it get to the point that girls are mean, or they'll go through the other door, or they'll say something smart, or you know, just so many different things that I can see how they're bagging off. And we had a good conversation on, no, I still want you to do the right thing. Even though, yes, there is some people like that, you still supposed to do the right thing. You should hold the door for whoever is behind you. It doesn't matter, you know, and we have to go through that process of that. So
just don't open the door too soon, because then they start running. You ever open the door for somebody and they're like still like 20 feet away? then they start running.
I hate that. Yeah, I'm like, go ahead, I'm walking.
Oh, boy.
You gotta time it right. You gotta time it.
I did that before too. So somebody opened the door for me, and I was just, for whatever reason, I just couldn't run. I was tired or whatever. I'm like, thank you, but I'm gonna walk. And he goes, it's okay. And he stayed there, and I'm like, but I still felt guilty walking. But at least we had like a conversation going to kind of play it off. But it meant more that he stayed and wait. You know what I mean? Of that, I felt more respect for him. But still, it was that. Yeah, it did make you feel like running.
It's hard to navigate because even you gave the example about the boys and whatnot. It's like experiences drives things too. Drives your not motives, but they drive you to not do some things and do some things. So if you got a negative experience with these, if in this case, you want to use the example about holding the door open for a woman, if you get so many negative experiences, then that'll make the person not want to do it anymore. But it takes a different, but you have to stay true to what you believe in, I suppose, even though because you get the good with the bad, right?
Right.
You're gonna run into some bad moments, but you're still supposed to do the good.
I agree with you, because there's times, it so happens the door made a squeaking noise, and the guy held the door for me, and he was going the opposite way, and I can hear him staying at the door, watch me walk away. And it made me feel uncomfortable. Because there's a point that you don't think anything of it, but after so long, you're like, okay, you know what I mean? And then especially when you turn around and they're still looking at you, that's a little uncomfortable. I did not like that feeling afterwards. So it does do something to your mind. I know I can hear that door close, and it was still open, and I'm like, is he looking at me from behind? It's just that in your head, you can't help from thinking that.
Yeah.
And then the same thing, like you were saying, of just not being safe. If it was nighttime and I have a flat tire and somebody pull up behind me that I do not know, a male, I would be a little scared to say help me. It's not a world where everything's okay anymore, like how it was before, that you can leave the doors unlocked and different things like that, and everybody know everybody. The world's a little bit bigger that I would probably say I call AAA or something, thank you anyway, but I don't think I would open up the door or do anything like that, because of just the world we live in now. I appreciate it and whatever, but sometimes I feel more safer if they don't. And that's just because of being at night, or just the opportunity of just being being vulnerable in a situation that could go another way.
So, I agree with you. I hear exactly what you're saying.
Expectations.
Yeah.
So
in fact, that was an experience that I actually had. It was late. It was at nighttime. The car was pulled over, and this lady had the hood up. I stopped. And when I stopped, she got in the car and rolled the windows up. And so when you think about it, so one of the things I was really conscious of is keeping distance from it. I didn't get close. And I asked her, is there anything I can do to help you? She said, no. I said, okay, have a good evening now. And just left. But as a person of color, in the time in which we live, you do have to be careful about things like this. Have to be careful about it. But the general idea, back from my time, was it was a way of honoring the female. Because the reality is, the female of our species is the only way we can get here to the earth. It's the door to the earth. You can't get here any other way. So the value that's connected there You don't get to see your offspring without her. You can carry your seed with you. As a man, you can carry your seed with you, but you never get to see it or see them without her. That says she's valuable to you. So it's a real trick to disrespect the female, because in doing that, you basically disrespect yourself. So the male that disrespect a female is actually disrespecting himself.
So when they say stuff like you should never hit a woman, that's one of the great disrespects.
It is.
Right? Because of that reason you just explained?
Yes, Joe. Hitting her is hitting you, is hitting yourself. You know, damaging her is damaging yourself.
So the best thing you can do is just hold your hand out, so she can stop hitting you. No, because the reason I bring it up, because people say that, and the reason I'm bringing it up because I want to get real practical. I remember watching a video, and this man was on the subway, and this young lady just started, hitting him. She was talking to him, mouthing off to different people on the subway, and then it came to him, and she was just wailing on him, right? And then he just got tired of it and just hit her back, like slapped her actually. Right? So then it went to the news, and then he started apologizing and stuff like that. But the thing about it is, it's like, even in that scenario, that situation, as a man, you still should not hit the woman.
No, preferably, I don't think so. I think you can
push her away or
pull her off as much as possible. It's just, and that's a personal thing. It's just not, in my mind, a good thing to do. There's never a good outcome when a man becomes physical with a woman. It just doesn't come to a good end.
Right. No matter, so it doesn't matter if she instigated it.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't.
Maybe just hold her. Stop. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever you can do to hold that off, and get away from it as soon as possible.
I think it goes back to like what I was talking about with the boys of holding the door. I think you also have to the women have to take a little bit of responsibility here. I think it's both parties that have to take a responsibility. She has to know her value. If she knows her value of her worth, of her blessings that she can give, and the blessings that she, you know what I mean? If she just know her value, it's easier for her to stay in control or to accept someone opening up the door. And it's that healing and being healthy to do that, to handle her emotions and her feelings, to not explode. It's not fair to say, okay, a man's supposed to stay in control, but it's okay for a woman to be out of control. It's both of us need to be control and be responsible for our actions. It goes both ways. It's not okay for me to hit a man, but not a man to hit me. We shouldn't hit each other, period. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
It goes back to that, and that's the main thing I try to tell the boys, of looking for somebody. If she know her value, she would accept somebody opening up the door and just say thank you. If she knows her value, she knows that being angry and out of control is not healthy. If she know her value, she would know how important and strong her words is of giving somebody encouragement or hope or correcting them. If she knew her value.
Yep.
And that's what my desire is for my kids, and that should be our desire for our spouses, is find somebody that know their value, because you can't give it to them. That you can't get married and assume. I always had said, it's not Joe's job to make me feel loved. I always feel it's his job to remind me I am loved. I already know it. I should already have that in me of who God is and what he has done, and my value of who I am. That it's not his job to give it to me, but it's his job when I'm down or just having a hard day or just whatever, reminding me, of come on, babe, it's okay. We can make through this, but it's not his job to do it or give it to me. And I think we get lost in that.
And one thing I would add to what you're saying, and I actually agree with you, I would say it's really nice when a person out of their goodwill actually reminds you. I wouldn't make it a job. I think if the person actually has goodwill, meaning I want your life to be good and I'm willing to do what I can to make it good, and I see that you're having a low time, if I can encourage you from my goodwill, then what that leaves for you is, I appreciate what you do. Versus, check, you did it right this time.
Now, I do admit there is good expectations. Like, one of my expectations is not to be hit. One of my expectations is not to be cheated on. Like there is
back to the promises.
There is some expectations that is reasonable to have, that you can't say there is no expectations. There is some general expectations that it is healthy to have, for a relationship with anybody.
Sure. Sure. I just think that you can have expectations of a person, but it really depends on that person's character and their integrity. The problem with having an expectation over a person is you have no control over it. So expectations set you up for, feeling bad or being discouraged or being disappointed. That's the word I'm trying to find. And the reason it does is because you have no control over them. You have no control over this person. So it's a setup when you have an expectation of them, but you don't have control. Okay. So what it then changes to is the character and the integrity of that person. Is their word important to them? Do they, because this is what they said they would do. Okay, we go to the altar now, we're gonna marry. Okay, now, you're gonna take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife to have in the home from this day forward, forsaking all others and keep her to yourself. So as long as you both shall live. And you say, I will. Okay. What you just said, and it really isn't to her, it's to God. I will take care of your daughter. This is really what you said. Now think about if you had a daughter or a son, and you're going to leave them with someone for a period of time. You would want them to treat your child right. The problem with being unfaithful is you bring all kinds of problems to them. The scripture says it is a sin of your own self when you create adultery or enter into another relationship. It's really a sin in your own body. And the problem with that is that it can, through the door of that sin, bring to your mate all kinds of things, not just physical, but all kinds of other things can come to them behind that kind of thing. So it boils down to the integrity of the person, the character of the person. Character, can you do what you say when people are around you saying, no, that's weak, let's do this, let's do that, oh, you just a wimp. You have the character to stand up for your word in the middle of that kind of pressure. Integrity. Oh, nobody's around, nobody's watching, okay? Nobody is gonna ever know. Can you do what you say? And our problem, Joe and Linda, is that we got taught one thing, but then watch something else. And now there's no truth. While there's truth there, there's no rock to hold on to, because we was told one thing, but we saw something different.
Yeah. So
the person then lost. They have no influence over us because we know they're just talking. You don't even do what you say. How you gonna tell me what to do? Okay, so now you don't have influence, yet you have wisdom, but you don't have influence. So who loses in this? The generation. The younger generation loses because they can't get your wisdom because you don't have influence.
Yeah.
So
that's deep.
That's the whole problem with relationship, and that's what the enemy has done in our lives. Created all kinds of issues. The scripture tells us that keep your heart with all diligence, because out of it are the issues of life, issues in the heart. And without skills, you can't deal with issues. You can't deal with them, so they fester. They fester, and the more they fester, the more poison comes. The more we lose goodwill, and once we lose goodwill, we can't solve problems, and we try to make people do stuff because we think that's what they're supposed to do, like that's gonna fix me. If I make you do this, I run a power trip on you to make you do something, and I think if I make you do something, I'm gonna be okay. The reality is, you're not my problem, I am. I am my problem. The very first thing we tell couples all the time, own your world. Own it. Own your world. Stop blaming other folks for your world. Your world is the direct result of your decision.
Ooh. And that was exactly what I was gonna say is, and I always ask this question, what about people that's been married and stuck here? And that's the answer right there. Own it.
Own it.
Yep.
You can never change anything that you don't own. You wait for somebody else to change it. They're going on about their business, living their life. You waiting on them to change your world.
You're all mad, sad, and blue, and they're dancing, partying, and having a good time.
Yeah.
And now that even make you madder. You can't figure out how to get out. Just own it.
Own it.
Yeah. Get your power back. People give away that power and not even realizing that that's over something so small, it can mess up your whole day. And I'm like, I don't get that. It's like, I'll give you a minute. And sometimes I don't even give you a minute, but I'll give you a minute, but you're not gonna mess up my whole day. You know what I mean? It's like, but some people be mad 2-3, days over something that's so small. And it's like,
I'll raise my hand to
you
that.
don't do that anymore, but you did.
Oh, what? Oh.
but
like, man, you made me mad. You don't deserve to get to talk to me. 'Cause I'm mad.
Yeah, or need something and they don't want to get help. But it's like you need me. I don't need you. You'd rather do without.
I don't want to give you the satisfaction.
and it's so funny because when he used to go through that stage, I actually felt freer. And I know that sounds weird because I guess I took on that I do have to do that, or I'm supposed to do that. I became disabling him, codependent him. And when he went to that stage, it freed me up. And I couldn't understand, like, I'm happy and I feel good when he's mad to a certain point, because now he's on his own. He's responsible to get out that slump and make his own self healthy. I don't have to do it. And we had to figure that out, you know, and finally we did figure that out, that, you know, you're responsible for your own happiness. You know, if you're mad, then it's not my job to keep trying to do it right when it's something simple and I said sorry and we should move on from it. You know, it's to the point of own it, you know, like what's going on, what happened before and after.
But I challenge you. I challenge you because too many times we just say sorry and that is not enough to make the person whole, right? Because a lot of people do more damage and they think that just by saying sorry is enough when you haven't made the person whole. Like for instance, if someone, I don't know, someone broke a $200 item of yours, you know, you loaned it to them, they broke it. Oh, I'm sorry, Pastor. And then they leave. You're like, okay. You don't feel whole in that moment.
Right.
So a sorry is just not enough sometimes.
Yeah.
You have to do something else among, you know,
that
with your sorry.
At the end of the day, whose responsibility is to make you whole again? It's yours. It's not that person. You have to deal with you.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's true. So I guess a lot of relationships going to be ended. Because you can't.
That is the area where a lot of people are having trouble. They are having real issues in that area.
Yeah.
What I'm sorry, the next thing they want is restitution. And the problem with restitution from a person you can't control is they may not give it to you. Now, what do you do with yourself? Because it's still your problem.
So move on. I mean, I get it. So move on, but they're never going to borrow anything else from you again.
Yeah, that is what you learn from.
Yeah.
And when I was teaching restoring hearts for women that husband was dealing with affair or pornography and stuff, I had to explain, you might never get sorry. You might never get that forgiveness of a knowledge that he did something wrong, that he acknowledged that he did something wrong or he's doing something wrong. And I actually have a guy come in and apologize for them to her in a general state so she can move on. Because some of them feel like they just even need to hear that acknowledgement. But I remember going through something, and it was actually my mother-in-law, my stepmother had actually said, Linda, you might never, and that's what made me start doing that, because she goes, Linda, you might never hear sorry, because they don't realize they did anything wrong. They can't get past there. They're not mature enough to get to that point. So you're never going to hear sorry. So what I'm going to do for you right now is say sorry for them. And this is probably the only sorry you're going to get for that situation. And now you have to choose, is that good enough? And now it's on you. Yeah. And so when I do Restoring Hearts, I do that for the women of, you may never hear sorry from your spouse. They might not think pornography is an issue and how it affects you. They might not think how the affair bothers you. So this is, have the person apologize, a generic form. I have written it out to apologize for them. And now I'm saying, it's up to you. Own your world. What are you going to do now? Are you going to stay in that misery?
Yeah, because you create misery for yourself. Yeah, that's exactly right. One of the kind of, I don't know if it's a good example or not, but I use it in my personal life frame with this Own Your World, when I talk about, you want some rest, you want some solitude, so you go down to the jail and ask the guard, can I just spend an hour or two in one of the cells by myself? The guard says, sure. And so he lets you in, and then you give him the key and tell him to come back and let you out in 2 hours. So 2.5 and 3 hours later, you're mad at him because he didn't come back and let you out. The whole point is keep the key.
Mm-hmm.
Keep the key. Keep your power. The key represents your power. Keep your power. Keep it.
You said, oh.
Oh, yeah, because I couldn't understand. I finally heard what you said. Keep the key.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't hear that first.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep the key, because the key represents your power. Let yourself out. And that's the whole thing with forgiveness. We're giving the other person the key. When we want restitution, we're giving them the key. And we can't control them. So we don't have power. So we become frustrated. Yeah. Keep the key. Keep the key. Let yourself out. And that means I have to own my world. I have to own my world. My world is I'm mad. Well, they're not mad. I got to do something about me being mad.
Okay, now, here's another. So let me throw a monkey wrench. Be devil's advocate.
Sure.
You ready? So you're the person so I accepted all your advice and I'm living that way. Now you got a friend. Girl, I don't know why you let him get away with such things like that. You know what? You didn't cook and you didn't clean, or you do this or you do that. Or from the male perspective, man, all the stuff you did for her. I mean, I don't understand, man. You shouldn't. So that person. So how do you protect yourself?
So the beginning of that, what you're talking about now, has to do with healthy people. Healthy people are emotionally stable and they're okay with themselves. So if I've said I'm going to do something, my word means more than that. That's the character part. I'm around, this person is telling me this, but I have the strength to keep what I say because of my character. Okay, now that has to build. It has to build, and it starts with the child. Letting that child know that your word is really important. Of course, to do that with a child, you have to have influence with the child.
Yeah.
Okay, so to build strong character in our children requires us to be healthy as parents, so that we build and develop healthy children that grow up to be healthy adults. Because the best way to have a good relationship with another person is to become healthy, because healthy people attract each other. Healthy people don't attract people that aren't healthy.
So what I hear you saying is if someone is telling you those things, you pick out the good parts and then throw away the bad parts they're saying. Like, oh, I accept this, what you're saying, I accept that, oh, I don't agree. So you just separate those things out. You know what I mean? Like you do.
Yeah, basically your character and your vision of who you are, what you have been, who has poured into your life and told you who you are.
Yeah. That
generally comes from a dad or a coach or somebody of influence, pours into a male and tells them who they are.
Yeah.
And if we didn't get that, we are apt to get swayed by a whole lot of stuff. There's all kinds of things to try to get you to move in one direction or another direction. The strength of character starts with knowing who you are. This is who I am. Gotcha. And because of who I am, my word means something.
Sounds good.
Yeah. It's sound good. It's hard to do, actually. This is actually hard. It's hard to do. It's hard to develop that in our children, where they grow up to a point where they can stand up in the middle of people telling them to do something else and say, I'm not doing it. What's wrong with you? You're just a punk. No, I'm not. I'm just chose not to do what you're doing.
Yeah, you gotta have some strong character, some strong conviction.
That's the world we live in. If you don't have that, get swayed, wind blown, all kinds of things happen to you.
Yeah, because I don't like when I go, because I have some people that go out to restaurants with at sometimes, and then you know how they want to buy drinks, buy shots. I already know my limit.
Got you.
Right? I know my limit. As soon as I feel a little buzz coming on, right? I stop.
Got you.
But not everybody else. They still going on, and they like, oh, I'm buying everybody a shot. Joe, here you go. And I'm like, nah, man, you got to drink it. Nah, I'm good. Man, come on. And then he try to get everybody else in on it. I'm like, nope.
Got you.
And I just take it and pass it on because I already know my limit.
Got you.
I mean, that's just, that's a practical example. But yeah, but if you buy into the peer pressure, if I would have bought into it, I would have took that shot and then maybe took another one and been toe up.
Yep.
And I don't like feeling that way.
I got you. And think about this. What if we make choices when we're toe up that gets us in trouble?
Yeah.
Whose fault is it? Because they're not there now.
You're right. That's right. Yep, you're right.
And we have to teach them that what you're talking about. That's what we have to teach to our children. That's what they have to learn. They have to learn how to, and it's a process. It's a developing process. You don't get this right all the time. You get it, you miss it. You miss it, you miss it, you miss it, then you get it. You miss it, you get it, you get it. But at some point, out of all of that work, you start to develop strong character. And what's needed from parents is encouraging them to keep trying to do it, directing them and keep encouraging them to do it.
Gotcha.
And then an example at the same time.
What are you gonna say?
So the main thing on this one is not our responsibility to put it on our spouse to make us happy. That we need to find it within to be happy. And the main two things is own your world and know who you are.
Yes. Yep.
Know, okay, I am going to do this. I'm not going to do this. This is my belief. This is my values. This is who I am. And no matter what people say, if I choose to forgive you, I choose to forgive you. I don't care if this person thinks it's stupid or dumb or don't make sense or how, like they might do it again. I made that choice.
Right.
So be responsible for my actions. So, and if it happened again, that I made that choice, for that door to be open. So I think those are the two main things about stop putting it on other people and put it back on you. Yeah. Because you are the only way that's going to have, if you're not healthy, you're not going to have a healthy relationship.
Nope. Nope. Nobody else can make you healthy. You have to do that. You have to do that. And healthy people attract healthy people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's too many people that say, he made me do this, or he made me feel this way, or she made me feel this way. No, own it. Own it. You're responsible for your own actions, your own feelings, your own emotions.
Yep.
And you have your own values. Who are you? What do you believe in? And what are you going to stand for? What are you going to take? What are you going to say, this is the limit? And what are you going to do about it?
Yes. Yep.
Good stuff.
Yep. That is, this is critical. And my thing with all of this is, as you talk about it, it's critical for parents to help their kids to get this before they get involved, before they get tangled up in relationships, or before they create babies. Mm-hmm. It's critical for them to get this before they start doing all those other things.
Yeah.
That's why I always say I try to say to people that, especially young couples or people that just got married, spend some time with yourselves first.
Yes.
A few years or something like that.
Yes.
A lot of people don't listen though, but spend some time because you need to know yourself and know that person. And because if you bring a baby in and you still haven't learned this person over here yet, now your attention is taken away to the baby. So it can be a mess.
It can. That's one of the most valuable things that I've heard. Spend some time before you get involved in a real serious relationship.
Yeah.
Spend some time. Babe and I knew each other 5 years before we actually got married.
Mm.
You know, and I think that was really valuable to our relationship. First of all, I was attracted to her. And one of the things I found out about men is you don't think the same when you're attracted to a person as you do after you got to know them. Mm. So things that came out of my mouth were basically being motivated from the fact that I liked it. I was attracted to it. I didn't really know how much I wanted to be with her, the person.
Gotcha.
It took some time for me to get over the physical thing to really know the person. And I think it's really important for women to understand that.
So that's why they're supposed to see, that's good, because I have noticed over the years, and sometimes in movies, but I have noticed it too, that women do take their time, like no holding hands. They take a while. I don't know if they know that they supposed to do it, or maybe they have been trained or taught, but they wait a while, you know, because that's now cool. You need to, you know, get to know me.
Yeah.
You get to know me, then you won't like me no more.
Yeah. That is what it's just critical to spend some. First of all, you find out whether this guy really likes you or not.
Yes, yeah.
You find out real quick.
Yeah. He see you with the makeup not on. You know, oh, you look real good because you got that makeup on. Ooh, girl, man, did you see her? Next time you see her, you know, if her eyes was light brown, now her eyes are not light brown anymore. You don't have the blush on. And you walk right past her, right? You walk right past her. Like, do I know you?
I think that actually helped us, that we were we were both dating somebody else when we met, that we wasn't thinking about dating. We were attracted to each other, but we were just friends, talking as friends. We never talked about going out and all that stuff until he was about to leave, until he told me he was going into service. You know, but we were just friends. We, you know, I don't think we even actually went out. It was just phone calls for a good year, you know. But yeah, that, because I had people go.
I remember now.
People go, I'm surprised you're with him. He's not your type, and I'm like, but knowing him, once you know him, it's kind of like,
what's my type?
Yeah.
Was I goofy? What was my type? Like, was I too goofy? What happened? What was your type? That's what I want to know. What was your type?
But I hear that a lot, and I think we made it work because we knew each other first.
Got to know each other.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, it was attractive there. That's how we just start talking. But when we talked, we were just talking about everything. You know, we didn't talk about, you know, like, you look good, or, you know, we wasn't trying to entertain that. We were just having general conversations about the moon is, you know, the moon is blue. I don't know. We just we were just talking. I know I couldn't think anything fast enough.
Yeah, she didn't say that about the moon.
Okay, the sky is blue. I don't know.
Okay, that's better.
So, but we just had simple conversations all the time, and I think that's what made it work for us because of that. And I think if we didn't have that, I don't think we would have made it, because we were able to get to know each other. I knew his value, he knew my value, you know, and we were able to do that, you know. And it was like simple things, you know, like he didn't have his wallet one day and he gave me $20 to hold for something. And I had that $20 for like 3 months. And I finally was like, do you want it back, or do you need it? Or, you know, for whatever reason. And it's like, we were just friends, and he was surprised I still had it, you know, like, like, oh yeah, you know, but it was that integrity and all that stuff was seen without, I mean, had without being tested, without being, what's the word? We were doing it without trying to do it. You know what I mean? It was just happening. So we had that. And that was a lot easier than that attraction first and just on that high for attraction, you know? So I think that's really good.
So, yeah. So don't expect too much from people. Well, not too much, but just watch your expectations.
Yeah, I think that's important. Yeah, because it'll set you up for failure or disappointment.
Well, Pastor, I think, you know, I'd like to thank you for your time. It's been very enlightening. Every time I talk to you, I do, you know, there are some nuggets that I like, that I learn, keep, and whatnot. So I thank you for your time.
Well, thank you, Joe and Linda. I appreciate being on your program. It's been fun for us. And I really enjoyed this. I think it's really important.
Well, thank you. So, all right. Any last words?
No, I think it's just important that people realize, own your world, know your value, and watch your expectations.
Okay. Well, that'll do it. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.